Hello, everyone, and welcome to Good Morning Expat, my YouTube channel dedicated to expatriates and international students in Europe. My name is Por, and I have the pleasure of welcoming you all to this special live stream session, which has been organized for the lovely students of Met Rishikul Vidyalay, which is located in Mumbai in India, which is also where I am from originally. And at the outset, I would like to thank Dr. Nagashri and Ms. Namrata for letting us have this opportunity to organize this special virtual tour of the lovely city of Milano, located in Italy, and of the lovely lakeside town of Lugano, located in Switzerland. And I would also like to thank all our viewers and subscribers who have connected with us today from all over the world. And I hope you're having an amazing day or evening, depending on where you're connecting from. So just to give you a little introduction about myself, my name is Por, like I said, and I'm an academic consultant by profession. Here in Milan, I work at MIP Politecnico di Milano, which is the business school of the #1 technical university in Italy. And I have been living here for the last 7 years, working in the marketing and recruitment division of this school. And overall, I have spent around 10 years in Europe. And my channel, Good Morning Expat, showcases my entire experience of traveling, studying, working, and living in Europe, and it's meant to inspire budding and future expatriates and students who wish to come to Europe. And in this initiative, I'm supported on the technical side by the backbone of this channel, Mr. Sumant Sharma. So Sumant, I would like you to come here on the screen and say hi to our lovely students and audiences.
Hello everyone, hope you're having an amazing day. Yes, just please stay connected to the chat box, where we'll be informing you promptly if something goes wrong with the chat. And everything seems to be okay now, so it's already moving quite well. So everything seems to be good. So enjoy the stream. I will not say a lot, and I will leave you to go to the fun part, which is the more exciting one. So
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Suman, for a quick introduction, and thank you for helping us at the tech side of this live stream and of the channel in general. And to support us, I highly encourage all of you to subscribe to our channel. And without further ado, let's get started with today's live stream, which is a special virtual tour of the lovely city of Milan, like I said, which is located in Italy, and a bonus tour of Lugano, which is a small lakeside town located very close to the Italian-Swiss border. So let me walk you through the agenda of today. So in today's live stream, we're going to explore the historic and modern centers of Milan, followed by a quick tour of this lakeside town of Lugano, which is based in Switzerland, very close to Milan. And we are also going to virtually taste some Italian street food items. And then the final part will be dedicated to a Christmas and New Year lights tour of the city of Milan, without which, of course, this live stream will be incomplete because the festive period has just finished in the city of Milan. So let's get started with our first topic on the agenda, which is the historic city center of Milan. So like any other European city, Milan also has a small historic area which is called the city center, which is the traditional historic center around which the entire city is built up. And this area is basically located around the Milan Cathedral, or the Duomo di Milano. And the two major sites in this location are, of course, this Duomo di Milano, and then also Castello Sforzesco or Sforza Castle. And in between and around these two sites, there are a lot of museums and chapels, churches, and other sites of historic and religious importance. And now we are going to virtually take you there so that you can take a look at this beautiful, charming, historic area of Milan, which is really the heart of the city. So let's get started. In this video, I'm going to show you the most important historic sites in Milan, which you will definitely check out during your first week exploration of the city. And I'm standing right now in Castello Sforzesco, or Sforza Castle as it is called in English, which used to be one of the most large citadels in the 16th and 17th century. So let's check it out.
Just 13 minutes away by walk, you will reach the most famous monument in Milan.
This is where your Milanese exploration will begin, because behind me is the Milan Cathedral, or the Duomo of Milan, which started building in the 1300s and it took 6 centuries to build. This is one of the most iconic structures in the city of Milan, and also around this, the historic center of Milan is located. So this is Galleria Vittorio Emanuele II, which is often claimed as the drawing room of Milan, and is also the oldest shopping mall in Italy. It houses a lot of luxury brands, including the Gucci Cafe, and also my favorite ice cream shop, which is called Amorino.
The Milano Centrale station is the city's main rail and metro hub, and it was built in 1931. This is where you will need to come if you need to take a long distance train connecting to other major cities in Italy as well as in Europe. And in front of the station, you will find the Piazza Duca d'Aosta, which is surrounded by a lot of bars, hotels, and restaurants. Next, I headed to the Monumental Cemetery, and this time I decided to take the tram number 10 to Piazzale Cimitero Monumentale.
So right now I'm standing in front of the Monumental Cemetery, which is one of the two largest cemeteries in the city of Milan, the other one being the Maggiore Cemetery. This was built in 1800s and it is a graveyard after all, so of course it has a sad vibe about it, but it is still one of the most important historic tourist spots. And it has also a museum inside it, which is open for tourists in the daytime. So there are a lot of interesting tombs, as you can see behind me, and also other sculptures and architectural things that you can visit and see if you happen to go inside the museum for the full visit. So I hope you enjoyed taking this virtual tour of the lovely historic center of Milan. But Milan is not a city known only for its old world or historic charm, but it is indeed one of the most international and cosmopolitan cities of Italy as well. In fact, it's known to be the financial, design and fashion capital of Italy and also of the world at large. And consequently, it has witnessed the development of a very high-tech infrastructure, including several skyscrapers, including the Unicredit Tower, for example, that you see on the screen, which is the tallest building in Italy, and several other piazzas and squares that have been recently created as trade centers and which serve the purpose of being important commercial and business hubs for the city of Milan. So let's get an exploration also of these modern centers that have been recently developed in Milan to give you a glimpse of the high-tech infrastructure that the city is quite proud of. And let's take a look at all the new skyscrapers that have been developed here. So while Milan is full of traditional monuments having a cultural or historic significance, it is not far behind when it comes to modern state-of-the-art high-tech infrastructure like this that you can see behind me. So I'm standing under the Palazzo Lombardia building, which has a lot of public offices belonging to the region of Lombardia, as the name suggests, and it is a 43-storied building with 32 lifts, and it's one of the oldest skyscrapers in the city of Milan.
The 39th floor of the Palazzo Lombardia building has the Belvedere, and it is in certain periods of the year open to public for free entrance and without reservation. And on these occasions, all the citizens can visit the 39th floor and admire the beautiful panoramic views of the city of Milan. Now let's go to the Porta Nuova district, and the best way to get there is to get off at the Garibaldi train or metro station. Public transport link in the video description below.
So today I'm standing in Piazza Gai Aulenti or Gai Aulenti Square, and it is one of the most important commercial centers of Milan. It is part of the Porta Nuova district, and the main attraction of this square is the Unicredit Tower, which is the most tall skyscraper in Milan, but more important than that, it is the tallest building in the whole of Italy. So as you walk around the piazza close to the Unicredit Tower, you will see what is called Bosco Verticale. Bosco Verticale in Italian means vertical forest. So the tall building that you see behind me with all the trees is called Bosco Verticale, one of the most sustainable residential and construction projects in Milan. In fact, it has more than 900 trees planted in the balconies of the different apartments. So after Porta Nuova, the next definite stop in your exploration of modern Milan will be the City Life district. Right now I'm standing in the City Life Park, which is an adjoining area next to Piazza Tre Torri or Tre Torri Square, which is where these three giant skyscrapers are located. These three skyscrapers now define or characterize the skyline of modern Milan. I hope you enjoyed also viewing these modern centers that have been recently created in Milan, and it is to get you a glimpse of how developed this city is, and indeed it is one of the most cosmopolitan and metropolitan cities of Italy. And the political capital of Italy, of course, is Rome, but Milan is known to be the industrial hub, the fashion design and industrial and business hub of Italy, which also, by the way, is the capital of the Lombardia region, which is meant to generate the highest GDP per capita in Italy, even more than the median overall of Italy, which makes it a very attractive destination for studies, for higher studies. So a lot of students from all over the world hop to Milan for higher education, both at the bachelor's and master's level. And this is thanks to the fact that a lot of headquarters of top companies are located in Italy, and it is in fact one of the most industrially rich areas of Italy as a country. And this image that you see here pretty much summarizes or gives you a snapshot of all that Milan is famous for. So, of course, it's known for arts and cultural heritage. It is known for being the most developed city in Italy in terms of high-tech infrastructure, but more important than that, it is well known in the world as the fashion and design capital of the world, next only to Paris, New York, and London. So it is considered to be one of the big four fashion capitals of the world and hosts the Milan Fashion Week twice a year, also including the men's fashion category. Usually the Fashion Week is held after the London Fashion Week and before the Paris one. And it is one key event to witness in the city of Milan, which attracts visitors and participants from all over the world who are top players in the fashion and design sector. We are now going to look at some of the locations where you can get a glimpse of this fashion excellence. And when you are in Milan, no visit to this city is complete without the shopping experience, of course, because it is the fashion and design capital of the world. So we are going to look at one video that's going to give you this experience and showcase some very important malls and shopping centers that have been there for hundreds of years. So let's get started with that. And I can see the chat going really interesting between the students. So thank you so much for a lot of comments that are coming up, and I'm going to answer all the questions in the last part of this session, which will be the Q&As. And if you can keep patient until then, but I'm still having a good time following the chat that's happening between the students, and you all seem really lovely. So thank you for watching so far. I hope you also enjoy the rest of the stream. And let's get started with this third part related to fashion shopping in Milano. So this is the famous Piazza Duomo, and the glittering building that you can see behind me is actually called Rinascente, and Rinascente is the most famous luxury shopping mall right next to the Duomo Cathedral itself, which houses, of course, a lot of luxury brands. And here you can come to shop your Christmas presents for your friends and family, and it has a lot of discount options as well during these festive times and special occasions. And right now they have, I think, many products up to 50% off. So given the COVID-19 crisis situation, most of the sellers are actually very aggressively promoting products, and this is the best time to take advantage. And there is, of course, a big queue, so it's not easy to get an entry. You will have to, of course, queue up for up to, let's say, 30 minutes in order to make it inside. But then once you're inside, then you have a lot of options to shop for. Let's now take a look at the Christmas decorations on Corso Vittorio Emanuele II, a very important shopping street stretching all the way from the Duomo Square to the San Babila Square. And of course featuring world-famous stores like Disney and the perpetual queue outside it. So in the last snippet, we saw this glittering street with all these glittering golden lights because it's shot during the Christmas period. And the street is called Via Monte Napoleone, which is meant to be one of the most expensive shopping streets in Europe. And it houses a lot of luxury brands, all the top luxury brands coming from Italy, France, and pretty much all over the world. So now we are going to take a look at what it looks like on a normal day. And this street is part of the fashion district, the Monte Napoleone fashion district, which is one of the main capitals or centers of fashion creation and shopping in Milan. In this video over here, you can see that I'm standing in front of the Prada store, and it's one of the key stores or highlights of this particular street. So it is not a very long stretch of shops, but it is considered definitely to be one of the most expensive in Europe. And close to this street, there is the Armani Cafe, which is a new concept cafe in which a lot of luxury and fashion brands are investing nowadays. So the idea is to create an ambience or to give a similar luxury experience to customers, wherein they can come and not shop for goods or luxury garments or apparel, but they can buy, for example, coffee and other food items to get the same experience, but in a food consumption concept. So, for example, the Galleria Vittorio Emanuele that we saw before is a place where the Gucci Cafe is located, and it is a similar concept cafe launched by a luxury fashion brand. All right, so we saw that Milan is one of the most cosmopolitan cities in Italy, and therefore, like any other big city, it has its hustle and bustle, and the life is really fast, and people are really busy in their work, studies, and other professional activities. But every now and then, you should take the opportunity to get to a weekend getaway and get a natural escape. So Milan, being in the Lombardia region, is very close to the Swiss border, and this area has a lot of foothills from the Alps mountain range. Consequently, there are a lot of lakeside towns, a lot of big lakes, including the Lake Como, Lake Maggiore, and also the Lake Lugano that we are going to see in our next video on this lovely lakeside town of Lugano, located in Switzerland. And this town, in fact, is very accessible from Milan. It takes about 1 hour to get there by train, bus, or even by car. And therefore, it serves as a great spot for a weekend trip or even for a day trip if you want to get a natural escape and escape from your busy and fast-moving life of Milan, which is very typical of a metropolitan city. So without further ado, I saw in the chat several people are looking forward to this footage of Lugano in Switzerland. So let's get started with it.
Today I've come outside to do a day trip to one of the most famous locations around Milan, which is called Lugano, which is based in Switzerland. And I'm going to take this train in the direction of Basel, and in about 1 hour we are going to be in the beautiful lake city of Lugano.
So this train is headed to Basel, like I said, and this is the first class coach as you saw. And this is extremely clean and posh. I'm wearing my mask because it's compulsory to wear it inside the public transport, so I highly recommend it for you as well. In about an hour, we are going to reach our destination to enjoy the beautiful views on the lakeside. So we just crossed the last station inside Italy, which is Como San Giovanni, and we are about to enter inside the border of Switzerland any minute, and the first stop is going to be Chiasso. The borders inside the European area, European Union area, or the Schengen area are so seamless that you don't really realize that you've just left one country and you're about to enter another one. That is the fun of being in Europe.
Nächster Halt, Chiasso. Next stop, Chiasso.
So we got off at our destination Lugano and we took a short walk, and now I'm standing here in front of the main attraction of the city, which is Lake Lugano itself, that you can see behind me. And Lugano is a small city in southern Switzerland, and it is part of the Italian speaking part of Switzerland, which is called Ticino. So I hope you're enjoying this fantastic view behind me, and actually I decided to do a bit of hiking until the funicular or cable car station, which is where I'm going to take the cable car to go uphill up to Mount Bray. And it's here. So it was a fantastic cable car ride with some fantastic views, and here I am on top of Mount Bray. So this is Mount Bray, and it's considered to be one of the sunniest locations in Switzerland, and the best way to get here is to use the cable car or the funicular railway line. And once you're uphill, you will get to enjoy the spectacular views of the Bay of Lugano and also of some of the mountains belonging to the Alps mountain range. So again, I hope you enjoyed viewing this bonus tour of this lovely lakeside town of Lugano in Switzerland, which is a must visit when you are here in the region of Lombardia. So usually it is very typical for tourists or other visitors when they come to Milan or any other place in Lombardia to definitely take a day trip to Lugano, because it's very accessible by train, bus or car. Like I said, it's located just at a 1 hour distance from Milan, and it's very easy to get to. And in fact, these two regions are very well connected, because in the two regions, meaning the Ticino region in Switzerland and the Lombardia region in Milano, because in fact a lot of workers, a lot of people would actually go to Lugano in Switzerland to work while they live over here. So they commute every day on a daily basis using this special train service which is called Tilo, which is the short form or abbreviation of Ticino and Lombardia region. So it is quite accessible, and it is definitely a must visit, even if Switzerland is not on your agenda in your overall trip and you're really visiting Italy. And if you happen to be in the north of Italy, people would take the opportunity, take advantage of the fact that this lovely lakeside town is very close by. And the characteristic experience of such lakeside cities is to take a hike on the mountains surrounding the lake. So like we saw Mount Bray, there are also other mountains close to the lake where you can take the funicular railway to get uphill and then to come back down. But also you can actually climb yourself and take a hike if you want to do some light exercise. So let's now get started with our next topic, which is very important. And it's important because no visit to any place is complete without tasting the foods of that place. So Italian cuisine is meant to be one of the most famous in the world. I'm sure that all of you in India, all our lovely students who are connected today, you savor Italian cuisine, pastas, pizzas, all that we are familiar with, I believe on a weekly basis from different Italian restaurants. But today what we are going to discover here in our next video are the Italian street food items that people grab on the go while they're working, for a light lunch on a work day, or even while they're out for sightseeing, for example, as a tourist. And these Italian street food items, let's say, are our fast food items, but not as unhealthy as other fast food items. So let's take a look at our next video, which will give you a glimpse of what are the things that you can savor on the streets of Italy, and let us give you a virtual flavor of these delicious items through this live stream. So let's get started. And I'm here in this shop called La Piadineria, which has a lot of combinations that you can choose from. And the one that I have taken this afternoon for lunch is the piadina called Verdi Zima, which is with avocados, lettuce, tomatoes, and a paste or sauce made from carciofi or artichokes. So let's try it, and later on we are going to explore more such street food items which are famous in Italy. So another interesting place to explore when you are discovering the typical Italian street foods would be the bakeries. And there are basically three key terms to keep in mind here, which are focacceria, panetteria, and pasticceria. So pasticceria is a type of bakery which specializes mainly in sweet stuff, so cakes, pastries, etc. Whereas focacceria and pizzeria would have pizzas and focaccias and other bread-based snacks and dishes, which are typically very popular for lunching. And most of the local Italian people, but even expatriates, would hop to these focacceria and panetterias to buy pizzas which are not made in individual portions for one single person for an individual serving, but what they do is that they make giant slabs of pizzas to be then portioned into individual servings, and in fact they are sold per kg. So it's as an expatriate, if you're new in Milan, you will find it really fascinating to see such giant slabs of pizzas where it's being sold not in one single portion for yourself, but it's being sold in like kgs. So the person on the counter would actually ask you, how many kgs of pizza do you want? And that's really strange to hear as an expatriate. So today I'm sitting here in this beautiful place called the Italian Bakery, and what I have taken is a focaccia pizza, and it has olives, tomatoes and mozzarella cheese on top of it. And the good thing about these places is that because they sell pizzas in such bulk quantities, the price per unit for a single person is almost ridiculous. So can you imagine what I paid for this slice? I paid like 1.8 euros. So it's a really handy place to come in for lunch and kind of control your daily budget on eating out. What nice. Despite being in northern Italy, you can savor the goodness of southern Italian food thanks to the Sicilian outlet, the Antica Fabbrica dell'Arancina. Arancina is a deep-fried rice ball coated with breadcrumbs, and it can have a variety of stuffings like tomatoes, cheese, etc. This place also features some world-famous sweet snacks from Sicily, including the cannolo, which is a deep-fried pastry roll filled with a creamy filling typically made of ricotta cheese and garnished with nuts. And here we can see a live demonstration of how it is made. Italy, of course, coffee is something really iconic when it comes to culture and lifestyle, and the best coffee of the world comes from here, although it's not grown, the coffee beans are not grown in Italy, but the way the roasting is done in Italy is quite particular, and that gives birth to the world's best coffee. So we're going to have a sip of cafe macchiato, which is my favorite type of coffee, and cafe macchiato basically is an espresso, essentially with a few blobs of frothy milk. So let's go inside in this particular torrefazione called Torrefazione Hernani, and let's try to have a sip of my favorite coffee, which is cafe macchiato. And if you are a coffee lover, this is the right place to buy all the different types of coffees, from Arabica to Robusta and from Liberica to Excelsa. And they even sell coffee accessories like mocha pots, snacks, etc. And now I am here giving it a shot. Let's explore what a typical Italian breakfast looks like, and this morning I have come in a cafe close to my house called Francesino, and I've ordered 3 things, which is what a traditional Italian breakfast is composed of. Of course, it starts with what is very iconic about Italy, that is the coffee itself, and the coffee can be espresso, macchiato, cappuccino based on your liking. Then there is always some fruit component to make it healthy. It can be Macedonia, which is fruit salad, or in most cases it is freshly squeezed orange juice, which is what I have taken today. And then of course there is a carb or bread based component, and usually there will be brioche. So there are different types of brioches. Some filled with cream, jam, some are whole wheat, some are just bread based. I have taken the one filled with jam today, which is what I like. So this is a typical Italian breakfast, which is what you will begin every morning of yours when you're going to live in Milan. Okay, so in this topic, the chat window got really interesting, and I can see that all our lovely students are big foodies, and they're already quite aware about some special Italian street foods like focaccia, croissant. I could see a lot of familiar names popping up. So I'd be happy to answer all your questions in the last part of this live stream. And I'll be happy to share the names of the places where I was eating. So let's get started at this point with our final video. And I said that this live stream will be incomplete if we do not give you a Christmas and New Year lights tour of the lovely city of Milan. So the festive period in Italy starts usually on the 24th of December on Christmas Eve and lasts until 6th January, which is Epifania. And during this festive time, the city is lit up with glittering lights and several types of decorations, and is adorned with a lot of embellishments that make the city look like almost a fairy tale land. So let's say you'll get transported into the Disney world with all these decorations. So it's important to also give you this Christmas and New Year lights tour, and let's get started with it so that you can witness what Milan was looking like just a week ago.
Like any other country, Italy also has some unique traditions associated with Christmas and New Year, and the chief among them is the preparation of the Christmas tree, which is called Albero di Natale, and of the nativity scene showcasing the birth of Jesus Christ, which is called the Presepe in Italian. And these decorations are set up on the 8th of December, which is the Immaculate Conception Day, which is also the national holiday in Italy, and then they are taken down on 6th of January, which is Epifania, and this marks the end of the festive period in Italy. And Milan, the city is no exception. As you can see, it's all set up to celebrate this beautiful and very important part of the year. I took a short walk and came inside Galleria Vittorio Emanuele, which is situated right next to Duomo. And another iconic Christmas tree is set up here in this shopping square, a luxury shopping square famous in Milan. And this tree usually every year is sponsored by Swarovski, the famous jewelry and gems manufacturing company. And in fact, it is decorated with the beautiful crystals from Swarovski, so it's even more beautiful, and you can see it right behind me. The vibrant Piazza Duomo, colorful and crowded even on a gloomy day like this. The main attraction being the giant Christmas tree, which is sponsored by a different company every year. This year it's sponsored by Coca-Cola. The lights with inspirational messages. Credi nei tuoi sogni, believe in your dreams. Non arrenderti mai, never give up. And ascolta buoni consigli. Listen to good advice. So I hope also that you enjoyed viewing the Christmas lights and decorations and all the embellishments that Milan was adorned with just 2 weeks ago, because the festive period recently ended. And with that, we come to the final part of this live stream session. So I could see that the chat is really interesting. So there are a lot of questions. I'm sorry about the little hiccup that happened in
a while ago where we were disabled, but we are back online, of course, and I hope all of you are still able to view and hear us. And we got a request to disable the chat, but I wouldn't like to do that because the chat really is interesting and we can see that the students are really involved and they are really patiently listening. So in fact, looking at this chat, I can admit that it's really fun to present to this age group of audiences. So it's fun presenting to kids because their questions are innocent and really interesting. And some of you who have already subscribed to the channel, thank you so much for your love. And for more such informative and fun content, you can always check out our channel and you'll discover many interesting things. And we post a new video every week, so it will give you some good knowledge about life in Europe as an expatriate, as a foreigner, but also as a prospective student in case you would like to come here as an international student in the future, for example. And since we just finished the slides, the videos on the Christmas period and the New Year period, it's a bit late to wish you a Happy New Year, but I still do wish you a very Happy New Year. And I hope that you have a great academic year ahead and also that you come out with flying colors this year and every year in your life. And on that note, I would now start inviting people to post their questions. Of course, a lot of them have been coming in the chat window, and let's start taking them one by one. And of course, I was informed that the student representatives would be posting their questions in a very methodical way, like you've decided. So I'll be happy to take all of them, but we have a question already coming up, and which was on the effects of the pandemic on Lugano or in Milan in general. And I was also asked previously if when these footages were recorded and why people are not wearing their masks. So some of the footage was recorded when Milan didn't have this rule of wearing the mask outdoors, and therefore you don't see the masks on the faces of everybody on the outdoors, but it was always compulsory to be worn inside. And therefore the pandemic definitely has affected the lives, the daily lives of people in Milan and even in Lugano. But of course, Italy was more hard hit, let's say, with COVID-19. So the restrictions are more strict over here, more as compared to Lugano, which is a small city. So it's meant to be less crowded, and it's easier to practice social distancing in such small cities. Contrary to Milan, which is a very crowded city, there are like thousands, millions of people, and therefore the city center areas, the public areas tend to be very crowded, and therefore the wearing of masks was compulsory in the outdoors recently. And of course, a few months ago it wasn't, therefore you don't see the mask on the faces of everybody. On my face, it's not there, only when I'm recording the footage, when I'm speaking, when I'm delivering a monologue. But I highly recommend you not to replicate this at home, and please do wear your masks when you are outside for your safety and for the safety of your loved ones. Okay, now the Lake Lugano and where it's officially located, it's located in Switzerland. And in fact, the area basically, there is another lake called Lake Maggiore or Lago Maggiore, which is in fact divided between Switzerland and Italy. So a part of it is based in Switzerland and one part of it is in Italy. But Lake Lugano is meant to be completely in Switzerland, to the best of my knowledge. And of course, like I said before, the Ticino region in Switzerland, which is the Italian-speaking region of Switzerland, is very close to the Lombardia region, so very close to the Italian border, and therefore it has this Italian language influence, of course. And the region is very well connected by train, so a lot of people actually go back and forth for work or studies as well. And Switzerland, by the way, also has the other two regions, which are French-speaking and German-speaking, respectively. Okay, and the next question is from Rayanj Parekh. Thank you very much. And the question is why there were square buildings in Milan. That was the reason behind this architecture. Well, this is quite a technical question. I don't claim to be a historian, so I don't know the answer to this, but I'm definitely going to research on it and post it as a pinned comment in the recording of this live stream. Okay, and there are a lot of questions popping up, so I have to pick some and be choosy in order to stick with with the time. So let's take a different one on a slightly different topic, which is on the street food stalls and how they're surviving in the pandemic. So basically, depending on the number of infections that are there at a given period of time, the government decides whether to allow these food stands or restaurants to serve food on spot or in a sitting area. And they might also decide to, let's say, prohibit that completely and only allow takeaways. So, how restaurants and food stalls and food stands or takeaways have been surviving is with deliveries. So, a lot of people are ordering food at home or they're just taking a takeaway. That has been going on. It was going on even during the hardest lockdown, let's say. And this is how most, let's say, restaurants and takeaways are surviving. But Milan usually these days is divided in red, orange, or yellow zones. So when the level of contagion is under permissible levels, then it turns to yellow zone, in which sit down eating in a restaurant, dining in is also permitted. So that in that period, people are able to go out and sit and eat, of course, maintaining social distancing. But when it is classified in orange or red zones, which are considered to be more intense and risky, then only takeaway or deliveries are allowed. Okay. Then the next question is, what are the places that you ate at? So I ate at La Piadineria, which is a famous piadina sandwich shop in Milan. And apart from La Piadineria, there are a lot of other chains that serve this flatbread sandwich, which is quite typical. And the other places, the focaccia pizza, pizzette, and all other derivatives of pizza and focaccia can be had in any other bakery in Milan. Milan is full of these bakeries where people go to have a light lunch like I was having, or to just grab some food on the go on the way back home, or even when, like I said, they are on a sightseeing tour of Milan. For example, just to not waste a lot of time in eating, but just to have something tasty, but something fast. And I said before, this food is much healthier than the regular fast food that we are all used to. Okay, and the Sicilian outlet that I show is a dedicated chain for Sicilian food. So it features arancina, which is a rice ball, which is a fried rice ball dish. And it also features cassata, which you guys must be familiar with, which is a layered ice cream dessert. And the cannolo, which is like a fried pastry stuffed with ricotta cheese and chocolate or other nuts. Okay, then the difference between focaccia and pizza. So focaccia, I believe the recipe, the dough is made differently, so it has more semolina along with flour, whereas the pizza dough is meant to have only flour, and then it is rested in some places for up to 72 hours for the fermentation, and then pizza is prepared. Whereas focaccia, quantity-wise, apart from flour, it has also semolina. Okay. And the next question is about the fashion industry. So let's take this one because it's a different topic so that we can cover it as well. Okay, so fashion and design excellence dates back to hundreds of years in Milan in particular. And traditionally, the city of Florence, or Firenze as it is called in Italian, used to be the fashion capital of the world, of Europe at least. And then, of course, Milan emerged as one of the big four fashion capitals of the world. Like I said, only only next to Paris, London, and New York. And Italians take particular care about dressing up well. And they pay particular attention on looking good and dressing up well. And this excellence and this attention is reflected in the way they produce fashion products, especially products that you put on or wear, which could be clothes, accessories, or even shoes. And fashion and design is definitely one of the most important exports of Milan. It hosts, like I said, the Fashion Week twice a year. And in the 1100s, this fashion excellence already started gaining impetus in Milan, and it used to be one of the showcases. It used to be on the radar for Europe as one of the cities where fashion creation is really important. And then it lost its importance to France, where haute couture started gaining impetus. But then in the 70s and 80s, Milan again came up on the map when it comes to fashion and design. And then, of course, Florence, like I said, used to be the fashion capital, also along with Rome. And then now it's definitely Milan. In fact, in 2014, if I'm not wrong, it was considered to be that it was rated as one of the most important fashion capitals of the world. And not just Milan, but all over Italy, there are cities which are birthplaces of several important fashion brands and fashion houses. For example, Florence is the birthplace or the founding city of Salvatore Ferragamo, and Rome, for instance, for Bulgari, and several other big fashion brands have their headquarters here in Milan as well. And so being fashionable and dressing up well and investing in looking good is something quite characteristic when it comes to Italian lifestyle. Okay. All right, and let's now take a different question here, which is about tourism again. So about the Milan Cathedral. So the Duomo di Milano, or Piazza Duomo, or let's say Cathedral Square in English, definitely is the heart of the city center of Milan. And around this, the entire city is built up, which is very characteristic of any other European capital. And it has, of course, an artistic, cultural, and social importance, but also religious importance. So it is the house of the Archdiocese of Milan as well. And definitely it is a site of religious importance, but more so it is considered to be the heart of the city center, because this is where your exploration of Milan really begins. It's the most iconic structure in Milan. So if you Google Milan, what pops up first is the image of the Duomo di Milano, or the Milan Cathedral. Okay. And the next question is about Italy's food style and how it has changed over time. And what are the causes? It's a question from Ethan Costa. Thank you so much for posting, Ethan. And it has definitely evolved. So if you happen to subscribe to my channel, you will see a lot of videos, for example, on how Asian food is evolving and is getting popular, for instance, in Italy. So, of course, Italian cuisine has evolved over time, and people are turning to, let's say, more healthier options. The Mediterranean diet itself is supposed to be one of the most healthy in the world, but people are now turning more towards more healthy options, like completely vegan options, for example, or plant-based pasta sauces, for instance. So this approach definitely is becoming quite popular. And Milan in particular is a very international city. It is, in fact, the most international city of Italy. So in addition to fantastic Italian restaurants and cafes and bars, you also have access to a lot of international restaurants: Asian, Thai, Indian, Middle Eastern, Persian, Chinese. Pretty much everything is on your platter. So you wouldn't have a hard time here as a tourist, or even if you live here as an international person. Okay, the next question is if how many people are allowed to eat in the street together in these times of the pandemic. It really depends on which zone the city is classified in. But usually on a table, 6 people are allowed, belonging to the same household. And what is the most popular style of clothing in Italy, and what's the current trend right now? So the current trend always is what's comfortable, that is in trend. And these trends are defined actually 1 year in advance, for the fall winter season and for the spring summer season. So what you see being presented in the fashion shows or the runway shows of top designers is what people are going to wear 1 year after, in the fall or winter season, or in the spring summer season. So the designers tend to anticipate the trends that are going to be in place 1 year after, from the time when the collection is showcased in a fashion show. But of course, at work, the style is usually smart casuals. In some industries, people have to dress up totally formally, like banking, consulting, etc., when they go to work, whereas at school, at a business school, for example, it's smart casuals as well. And then on the street, it's really freestyle, let's say. Okay. And since we are about to come to the end of this live stream, let me pick some important questions, some of the final ones that are popping up. So the water in the Lake Lugano is supposed to be very clear and blue, and if they have an advanced filtration system or if it is natural. Okay. So the lakes in Milan, around Milan in Italy are all, of course, natural lakes. And the same for some in Switzerland, but of course the level of maintenance is a little bit different. So Switzerland is a country for which tourism is one of the most important generators of revenue or income. So it's a very important sector of economic value for them. So they take particular care in maintaining these natural sites and sites of even historic importance, but also of natural importance. And therefore, they take particular care in keeping, for example, the lake and the lake sides really neat and clean and fresh. So that tourists, of course, can have a good experience and enjoy the views, but also maintain the sustainability and the ecosystem of the lake. Okay. And in Italy, if everyone is expected to wear designer clothes, a lot of people invest a lot of money and time in buying designer products and clothes, for example. And of course, not everybody can afford to wear like a Gucci jacket on an everyday basis, but it is common for people to take advantage of the two main sale periods, which are usually in July and in January. So July for summer wear and then January for winter wear. And around Milan, there are a lot of shopping outlets which are called shopping villages, which are like open air malls, which showcase a lot of big brands, starting from Louis Vuitton in the high end luxury, high fashion section, up and then going to fast fashion brands like Mango, Zara, Bershka, etc. And it's typical for people to go to these shopping outlets to buy products, especially when they have to buy a good quality product for themselves or as a special gift for somebody special, or if there is a wedding or something. And it's really typical. They're really popular, these shopping outlets, but you do have to plan a day trip there because usually they're located a bit outside the city. So you need to take either a special shuttle or take a car to go there. And it takes a whole day. So there are a lot of shops, so you have to visit all of them, try out different items and then buy. But usually in the sale periods, which are January and July, people really take advantage of the big sales that are happening. And in these shopping villages, there are in fact year-round sales. So you can buy products up to, let's say, 70-80% off all year round, even when the sale period is not on. So yes, people do invest a good part of their income in buying good quality luxury fashion wear, and also their time and interest. Okay. And well, the questions are popping up like anything, but I will take a slightly different one here, and which is about the languages spoken. So do people speak French or any other European language? So in Italy, of course, the base language will be Italian, and English is widely spoken these days in big cities like Milan, since there are a lot of expatriates and international students. And the Ticino region where Lugano is located is also the Italian-speaking part of Switzerland. The other two parts are German or French-speaking. And in Italy as well, some people would speak German and French as their second language, for example, because of course they have close relationships and they are bordering countries. But of course, the base language definitely is Italian. Okay. And a unique question here from Swar Shroff is, how does it feel for an Indian to live in Italy? So it's extremely friendly, this place, for a person like me to live over here as an Indian or as an Asian, for that matter. And in fact, the Italian culture, when it comes to family values, work culture is actually quite close to Indian culture. So when you live here, you find some similarities in the way people think, in the way they approach, for example, work or life, and especially the way they look at family values. So I'm having quite a good time here, just to share my personal experience. And Milan in particular is a very international city. So in addition to a lot of Italian and local people, in addition to having the local, seeing the local color, you are able to interact with people coming from all over the world. So it's quite an experience in itself, which is, I think, characteristic of any other big European capital. Okay, what is the key ingredient? Question from Panya. What's the key ingredient that's added in most of the dishes that makes each dish unique? Okay, so I can say that the Mediterranean diet is really balanced, but when it comes to main dishes, flour is extensively used, but flour not in the sense it is used in India. So we tend to use very refined flour when pasta or pizzas are made, but here a less refined version of it is used. So it's supposed to be more healthy and more, let's say, whole wheat flour is used in the making of pasta, pizzas, focaccias, all the, let's say, carb-based items. And the other main ingredient would be tomatoes and garlic, for example. Okay. And I will take two final questions over here before we end this live stream. So sorry about the time constraint, but it would be my pleasure to really keep answering all your questions, because the chat is really interesting and I'm having quite a good time interacting with all you young and colorful people. And let's take these final two questions before we wind up. So the precautions that the government has taken during the Christmas and New Year period. So very important question here, very relevant for the current time. So Christmas and the New Year festive period is the most important period for any European country, for that matter, because it's the main festival for Catholics, but it's also a main commercial festival in that sense. And therefore, a lot of people go out to shop for presents, to eat out together in aperitivos or in parties or dinners with friends and family. Therefore, the government had to take particular care to curb this huge turnout of people outside of their homes. And in fact, in Italy, they imposed a very strict lockdown during this period, starting from 24th January to 6th, 24th December to 6th of January, where people could go out only for essentials, shopping for essentials. And even we went out to shoot the footage of some of the videos and the Christmas lights tour that you saw only on the orange days. So by orange, I mean those days where you were allowed to go out to do anything within, of course, your municipality. But otherwise, it was strictly prohibited to go out of your house unless you had to go out for work, for example. And people strictly followed that. People understand the importance of social distancing and the importance of cooperating in helping the government to curb the contagion and helping the government to get out of this crisis. So people respected it, which was a good decision. People celebrated at home, invested more time in family time, let's say, at home, which is what Christmas is all about after all. Religious gatherings in churches, etc., were allowed, but of course, maintaining social distancing. So people played their part in helping the government. And I've taken this question because it's quite relevant in today's times. Okay, and one final question now is from is from Prisha about the major fashion brands in Milan and how did they come into existence. So currently, of course, Milan has shops and outlets showcasing all the fashion brands from the world, not just Italian brands, but also French, British, other luxury fashion brands from the US and from all over the world, pretty much. But some of the brands are quite characteristic to Italian excellence in design and fashion, which are Gucci, for example, Gucci, Prada, Valentino. Then on the shoes and accessories side, for example, Sergio Rossi is one key brand, Baldinini, etc. So the list can go on and on, but consider that fashion and design is one of the biggest exports of Italy, and therefore in the field of dresses and apparel, clothing meaning, and in the field of leather goods production, so bags, shoes, belts, leather accessories, it's quite well known, and also for its excellence in tailoring, in high-end tailoring. Okay, so sartorial excellence, as it is called. And these are the three areas in which Milan leads the fashion world. And when you are here, you can get a flavor of shopping in all these famous brands in Via Monte Napoleone, for example, which is one of the major fashion districts in Milan. And apart from this, there are a lot of outlets within Milan, but also outside in the form of shopping villages, like I told you. Okay. So let's take one very final question over here, which is about the exploration of the modern squares and why it is important for young students like you. Question from Siddhi Gupta. Final question for the live stream of today. Thank you, Siddhi, for posting. So I'll tell you why I included that particular footage in this video. Europe is considered to have this old world fairy tale historic charm, and this is why a lot of tourists hop to major European destinations to discover this charming effect and monuments that date back centuries. But it's worth noting that Milan is also the most cosmopolitan and metropolitan city in Italy. It is the most bustling and international city of Italy. Therefore, it is not far behind when it comes to high-tech, modern, state-of-the-art infrastructure like we saw. So Piazza Gaia Lenti, for example, is a major square that was constructed at a very rapid pace during the Expo, which was hosted in 2015 in Milan. And the main attraction of that square is the UniCredit Tower that we saw, which is the tallest building in Italy. Okay, so it's the tallest skyscraper in Italy. And that particular square has a very strategic importance. It's part of the Porta Nuova district, and it has a very strategic commercial importance for the city. The other major city center, modern city center that has been recently developed, is the City Life district, where we saw the other three skyscrapers, which are of PwC and Allianz. And these three skyscrapers are newer than the UniCredit Tower. They are, I think, not taller than the UniCredit Tower, because UniCredit Tower is the tallest. But it was also to give you a glimpse of these new areas that are developing, where people go to shop, eat, have fun, spend their leisure time, or they go there to work, because most of these big skyscrapers are commercial buildings having different offices of companies, banks, etc. So if you do live here as an expatriate or international student, you are definitely going to visit these places from time to time for work, for eating out, for meeting your friends, etc. But they are now becoming a very important part of the ecosystem of Milan. And they now define the skyline of Milan, because traditionally Milan had very few skyscrapers. The oldest skyscraper in Milan was in fact the Palazzo Lombardia building. It used to be the tallest building in the past, and then of course the UniCredit Tower was built up, which went on to becoming the tallest building in Italy. Okay, so on that note, I would like to give a big shout out to all our students for the patient listening and watching of our video, of our live stream, and for all the interesting questions that they have posted. I hope that this tour enhanced your knowledge about this part of Europe, about Italy, and a little bit of Switzerland. And thank you so much for attending it. Thank you again, Ms. Namrata, for coordinating and taking the effort to organize this activity. Of course, we are all living in the pandemic age, so I guess this is the way to organize a little virtual visit of two of these lovely cities and towns in Europe. And you can check out more such informative and fun content on our channel, Good Morning Expat. So I highly encourage you to subscribe to it for supporting us as well, and as a way of saying thank you. And you can also follow me on Instagram using my ID _Dubai, and you can also visit our official LinkedIn page, Good Morning Expat, on the LinkedIn portal if you happen to have access to it. So thank you so much to all the lovely students of Rishikul Vidyalaya in Mumbai, and all the lovely viewers and subscribers connected from all over the world. Thank you so much for attending this live stream. It was my pleasure to interact with all of you, and hope to see you the next time. Ciao, ciao.